another great day in the neighborhood at RadioNext.tv. Jumbo Love live here. And the community spotlight today, we're going to highlight and feature redemption. We're going to spotlight and feature overcoming, and we're going to share with you what it's like to maybe be visually impaired or whatever your element of disability may be, how you can overcome it. Today in the community spotlight, I am proud. We've been trying to set this up for a while. Rebecca Triggs is in here with me. And as you can see, we are both in our shades, and I'm visually impaired, but I do have the benefit of being able to see out of one eye. Rebecca is visually impaired, and she has been dealing with blindness for a while, but it does not stop the flow of this sister. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through different avenues of Rebecca's life, growing up, when she contracted being blind and visually impaired, and this new lady, this brand new package that we have that is out here just blazing the world in this new LifeWave product that she is endorsing as well. So welcome in, Rebecca.
Well, thank you.
Man, we've been trying to do this.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, but I am happy today, and it's a beautiful Monday. And let me say something out here, people. We have done this, and the day of spring is coming. And Jumbo Love has one fetish in life, and that's my little convertible. So today, if you see me jetting around with the silver bullet, honk at me and wave at me. But it's a beautiful day to bring the light to you. And Rebecca, just give me a little bit of history. I like to start so people can understand you and know you. Let's go from little girl Rebecca, where you grew up. You know, we already understand that we are family, which is blowing my mind right now. But we are family. Give them a little history about Rebecca. Let's go from when you can first start remembering, up to your little school days, and then we're going to transfer into the young lady, Rebecca.
Absolutely. So I was born here, Indianapolis. I'm a native, never left. Indianapolis, Indiana, born in Methodist Hospital.
Okay.
To two great parents. I attribute them as not knowing the masterpiece that God would let them create, which was me. I am the youngest of seven in a blended family, the only child of my parents. So my mom has two daughters, myself and my sister. I am the youngest. And then my dad has six children, and I'm the youngest. So being in a blended family, growing up with a older brother, 13 years older than me, 13 years, 11, 9, and then 3. And then we are what you call the ghetto triplets.
Oh, yeah.
Two brothers, same age, same grade in high school. So as a young girl, I was, as you see now, I'm very petite in size, but I was always big at heart. Daredevil. I loved gymnastics. I was a tomboy, daddy's girl. Loved my dad. Loved everything he did. He did a lot of work with his hands. We built things.
So he threw you out there and said, "Baby, get dirty. You can still be a lady, but let's get dirty with it."
Well, actually, sometimes he resisted me. He would say, "No, get back in. You can't do this." And then, as I am, and the person that God created me, yes, I can. So at 5, I built decks. One year, I think I was 6. It was just me and my dad. We painted the whole house, and I was up on the ladder. I was never afraid to try new things. Always curious. But I was born with an entrepreneurial spirit. So I did things, mischievous things, like one time I had a garage sale and took that term literally and just opened the garage and sat out there and just was selling the garage.
So your daddy's a garden hose, the hoses and everything.
They came downstairs and said, "What is going on?" and asked the people to give the stuff back and made me give money back. And that was when we found out that.
And how old were you when you were doing this?
5.
Oh,
so that was
Jesus Christ.
That was the young, mischievous Rebecca Triggs.
Yeah.
And so keeping me busy was probably the biggest plight that my parents had. I read early. I did everything above schedule besides getting teeth. I didn't get teeth till I was 2. That's like so funny. But I could fully talk. I mean, I read. I was off the charts. And growing up in a blended family like that, we was pairs. So I went to kindergarten with my older brother, who was at Lawrence North half a day doing shop.
Mm-hmm.
So that schedule permitted for us to go to school together, leave together. Didn't need a babysitter. Didn't need before after school care because it was 7 of us, right?
So built-in babysitter.
Built-in babysitters, and went on down the line. And at 8, I had a concussion. Me and my older sister were home, just the two of us. We were 11 and 8. I hit my head. I was crying, of course. An older sister, not wanting to hear the baby sister. And the baby, when I say I was the baby, my nickname is Boo. And I'm still called Boo to this day. If the family looks for me, it's where's Boo? So I went to sleep. The next morning, my mom couldn't wake me. She called 911. And then that's when they discovered I had a concussion.
Wow.
At that time, all they worried about was, just treating the concussion, making sure I followed concussion protocol. I missed school, did things like that. But it was the following spring, which shout out to nurses and Miss Yvette Williams for back then doing screenings for kids. Schools used to be a place where everything was handled. They did your vision screenings, your hearing screenings, scoliosis tests. Your teacher could tell if something was going on in your house by you not paying attention in class. That was the environment, especially in Lawrence Township.
Oh,
Shout out to Lawrence North. I'm a Wildcat.
Great school system.
Stayed there from kindergarten all the way through. So I pride them for being what they were for me. You know what I mean?
Which was alert.
Very intentional.
Yeah, so
that's Yvette Williams in the background,
yes,
the nurse.
The nurse
we're going to
of
talk
all
to her
nurses.
as we end this up.
But yeah, so that was when they saw that, I don't know what they saw, but it prompted a phone call to my mom to get to the school to get me to an eye doctor immediately. And back then, 1989, there were no America's Best or anything like that. You had Dr. Tavel, you had LensCrafter, and then you had your regular optometrist and ophthalmologist. And those appointments were scheduled like doctor's appointments. There were no walk-in.
We'll fit you in maybe 4 weeks from now, depending on our schedule.
Yep. And so we went to Dr. Tavel because that was the only place we could walk in. And he did a regular exam, and then he stopped and he sat back and he told my mom that you need to get her to a specialist immediately. And back then, there was no internet. There was no directory. There was no care source. There were none of the programs that you see now. It was word of mouth. It was, who do you know? And so we went straight to my grandmother, who was at that time the secretary to the president of the Department of Finance and Security. So she was pretty high up in her job. So she had a lot of resources. And she reached out and they said to try IU, which at the time was one of the top 5 medical facilities in the world, especially for pediatric optometry and ophthalmology. Because this is at a time where when you have eye diseases or you notice that there's something wrong with a child, they just send you to a place that deals with blind kids. They didn't really dig deep to figure out the source of the problem. They just treated the problem.
Right.
And so I was fortunate to get to IU, pediatric optometry, ophthalmology, and it was difficult getting a diagnosis because RP is a wide span of diseases. And there weren't many diseases that a child would have that met the criteria of what I had. So I became the world's first case of macular degeneration in a child. 1989, kid you not, which was, for me as a kid, it was almost like, it was exciting for me because I was a learner. I loved to read. I read so many books. My dad bought me a set of Encyclopedia Britannica, and I read the whole set thinking it was a series of books.
Yeah, we must have some blood because my grandmother used to put the cereal box down in front of me thinking she was going to, take me out of wanting to ask questions. And I'd read that mug and start asking what's riboflavin.
Yes, absolutely. That was, so you get it. That was the kid I was. So at first, nothing really changed in my life, but I was going to IU optometry and ophthalmology, and this was in the basement. So we were like tucked away in this tunnel, and I had to go through these rigorous tests like every 3 months because a different doctor.
So we're still 8, or are we?
We're still at 8. We're at 8 and 9. This is still young. This is elementary days. This went on till I say about my sophomore year, from 8 to 15, I was just studied. I didn't have a name for the disease. I didn't even know about an RP.
Right.
It was just a bunch of tests. I hadn't.
Which research is, and people don't understand, and
people
that's
don't
the reason
understand.
we're such an advocate for, especially our community. And I don't mean to break this up, but
No, great.
when we talk about all the different diseases, whether it be Alzheimer's, blindness,
Yeah.
high blood pressure, whatever, if we don't participate in the community as research, some of the medicines and some of the trials are not as effective
Yeah.
on our community. And
Absolutely.
that's just a fact. So I'm glad
That's
you
a fact.
mentioned that.
That's
So
a
they
fact.
were doing research
Yeah.
all the way up until what age?
All the way up until 15. I mean, so this was before they were doing DNA testing. So, I mean, I was blessed.
They hadn't broken the code yet.
Yeah, I mean, I was blessed. We had to get great grandma to the doctor's office and get her tested, and my dad and my grandma and my siblings, because where did this come from? And
They're
no one
looking
had
for hereditary
they were
issues
looking for
instead of
hereditary.
maybe this concussion and that fall
Yeah, that never even they
came
never
up into
connected.
the question.
Nope, never connected because the initial findings was it looked like I have macular degeneration. I have blind spots behind my retina.
Okay.
So otherwise, everything else is fine. My cornea is intact, my retina is intact, but behind my retina, I had blind spots. And where those blind spots were, it was obstructing my vision, but my sight. And as a child, and just because this can happen to adults, when you are losing sight like that and you have something obstructing, you don't know.
Mhm.
It takes someone, a professional on the other side of you to notice that, because you don't notice those slight changes. I didn't notice it.
This left eye of mine, the glaucoma that I had, I did not know. And thank God that my right eye is okay. But I started seeing this little rainbow halo, and it would go away and come back and go away and come back. And I didn't know anything. One day I woke up and I just couldn't see out of my left eye. Yeah.
We ignore those things.
We ignore them.
And because we think it's subtle, that it's not a big deal. And I had light flashes and stuff like that. But as a kid, no one ever asked me, hey,
so let's fast forward.
Yep.
To okay. So we're now like a sophomore in high school.
So now I'm a sophomore in high school.
No issues of like sight coming in and out. You said you had some.
Well, I started having difficulty. So once I got the diagnosis, I mean, I read a book a day at this time. This was Nancy Drew, and it started getting difficult. And we had no idea about vocational rehabilitation services or anything like that. I was blessed to have a dad that had a job where he became the student of learning about assistive technology.
Mm-hmm.
So because he used magnifiers and stuff at the shop to make the tools, he started having them custom make magnifiers for me to keep me reading in school. So, I mean, I had rulers that magnified. I had special magnifying glasses. I had headgears that would magnify the words. So I would never stop reading because that was my passion.
Yes.
I was an avid reader. And my dad, being in management, saw it was critical about eye contact. And so that was the first indication I couldn't make eye contact. And actually, I was punished for it because because I'm a jokester and I'm silly. And he thought I was being rebellious and deliberately
on drugs.
Well, no, I was only 10 or 11 years old. I was young. So he just thought I was just.
Well, today that might work.
Well, absolutely. And at that point, he was just like, well, you're being defiant. Until you want to make eye contact, go back to where you were.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Until he realized I wasn't doing that deliberately. Something was wrong. And so that's something in our community. We don't want to go out and when something's just minor off, we just want to brush it off. But those minor things are clues to something major.
And let me say this because I love my community and I talk all the time about sometimes ignorance versus stupidity. And ignorance means you just don't know. And it's okay to be ignorant to facts. But when you know and you don't do anything about it, now we can put stupidity into the game. But we have been lacking information, awareness, and resources for so long that we just don't know. And all we do is what grandma did. And grandma doing what her grandma did. And so before you know it, we're just transferring our homemade remedies and our homemade opinions about the boy, go, drink some milk and go to bed. I mean, whatever the case may be.
Don't watch TV.
But don't go to the doctor.
It's gonna make you blind.
Yeah, don't go to that doctor.
The doctor, they don't want to do that. So going on, my grades didn't really struggle. My friends, I kind of like had a great community, and I was never treated different. You know what I mean? And I think that was a good thing, but also was a hindrance.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the advocacy and if I was more confident in being Rebecca, the blind person, I would have moved a lot differently in those younger years.
Okay.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
let's talk about that because we've got about 30 minutes because I have learned over the course of 14 years in doing this, people get brain dead after I talk too long. So we're going to keep this right about 30 minutes because
Okay.
I want them to hear
Sounds good.
everything. So you went blind. What year, what age?
So I didn't actually go blind. So 9 years old is when I got the diagnosis. And it progressed very slow, very slow. I went on, got a driver's permit, even though the inner me was telling me this isn't something I need to do. But because everyone around me was doing it and it was age appropriate and it was part of the culture, that's something I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Until my eye doctor was great. Shout out to Dr. Bither. He took me out on the road to see if I could drive. I did simulators at Crossroads to see if I could drive. They were really, I got within advocacy, vocational rehabilitation services at 15. So that's really what changed the trajectory.
So we know now at 15 that we have to do some things different than your everyday child coming to school with normal vision, normal sight, and all of that. So that's a good transition because at least you had the opportunity to see things clearly versus somebody who might have been born blind. Absolutely. I don't know which one is better, which one is worse, if it's better or worse. I don't know. But you did have the benefit of being able to see. Now,
I got to go to the blind school as well.
So let me ask you this, because see, I'm blind and I get certain questions that people want to know. And I get people who kind of play with me. The other day, my best friend came up on my left side and thank God I didn't have anything in my hand because I probably would have backhanded him because they don't understand when you don't have that peripheral vision. Some of the things that come up on you suddenly are not friendly.
No.
So with your blindness, do you dream? Can you still see vivid pictures of things?
I still see. So where my vision is now, I had cataracts on both eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I had those removed. So I had new lenses in April of last year. I had laser surgery to eliminate some of the scar tissue. My blindness comes from the back of my eye. So where the blind spots are, it obstructs my vision. So I use more peripheral vision than I do frontal.
Okay.
So an acuity for me would be 2600 in my left eye, which is my strong eye.
Are you getting deep on these black folks right now? But go ahead.
But just to give them just to paint a picture of what I see, what a person would see at 600 feet, I have to be 20 feet away.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
And then I use more peripheral than I use frontal.
There you go. See, now that like I say, in trying to explain, I understand my audience and because really when we talk shop talk, I tell people that in the nonprofit sector, we're talking data, we're talking shop talk.
Yeah.
And these brothers and sisters out there could care less about what you need to do to reach the numbers to benefit me. They need to be benefited. So I try to get to that core.
Yes.
And the people listening will understand that better than the shop talk. Now, we understand that this is number one as I make this transition because I want the last 10 minutes to be honed in, and we're going to continue, if you wouldn't mind, interviewing with you, or we build a series of this. But for the sake of transition and understanding, okay, I have what some would call a disability.
Correct.
But in your mind, I actually, I'm going to be honest, I actually had a confrontation that led to the separation probably of me and a wife, because when I went blind, she was thinking of the benefits of getting paid. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I'm like, hey man, I'm just trying to
survive.
No, I'm looking at people who really have disabilities, and
Yeah.
I'm able to still drive my car.
I
I'm
don't
still
feel
able to
disabled.
read on my computer. I'm still
Yes.
able to function and be
Yes.
a positive member in this community.
Community, yes.
And you want me to say I'm disabled so I can get a check?
Check. Absolutely.
I'm not doing it.
Absolutely.
And so, sometimes you just have to agree to disagree, and we
Mhm.
disagreed. And here I am, still blind in my left eye,
Mhm.
and God is still propelling
Yes.
information, awareness, and resources through me.
Yes, he
So
does.
when you decided, I reached a point to where, okay, I know this is a hindrance, but what's going to be my trampoline to let me go out here and do some just phenomenal and extraordinary things for what they think people with impaired vision can do? Because that's really where it comes
Absolutely.
from, inside that
Absolutely.
soul. And so you can't
Absolutely.
stop me from doing
No.
nothing. So let's talk about that transition.
So for me, that transition occurred after I had my kids, honestly. In the back of my mind, I never wanted to have kids because we never found
Okay,
out.
plural. We haven't
I
gotten
have
to
two
that.
children. Yeah,
Okay,
two children.
ages.
Ages 25, and my youngest will be 21 Friday.
Hello, kids.
Hello,
Y'all ain't kids.
kids.
Y'all
They're
grown and
grown
taking
ups.
care of mama now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think for me, becoming an entrepreneur was always my dream, right? And in going to school and meeting with guidance counselors and writing that path to your life with them, getting that, well, are you sure, Rebecca, this is something you want to do? Because, with your disability, that might be difficult. Well, what they missed was when you have a disability, you have extra abilities.
Or your senses are transferred.
Absolutely.
I tell people I lost in sight, I gained in vision. And it sounds like poetry, but I am so serious. What I lost in the visual, inside my brain now, solutions and coming up with ways to fix problems has been enhanced. I mean, and so I think your body and your mind is automatically equipped that way to make sure, okay, well, where are we going to use this extra sense?
Well, yeah, because the way we're wired is that the brain, right, which is the center of everything. We have the function of sight, which comes from our eyes, that gives us the perception of things that are in front of us, that's what sight is.
Yeah.
But vision is a function of the brain that gives us the perception of things that can be.
Yeah.
And for us who are visually impaired, what God does with us is he's allowing us, when we lose sight, to give us his vision.
Yes.
Wherever we're lacking, God prevails. You know what I mean? And I think for me, losing my sight for a few months of last year, being totally blind, being visually impaired is one thing, right? But being told that you'll be blind before 18 and that never happens. And then going on to raise kids and see them graduate and to see things, you get this sense that I'm never going to go blind.
Now let's get back to this kid thing, before we get into your business. I'm going to get into your business.
Yeah, that's okay.
How you get macked up on, because see, blinds, people think that love, I tell when you become visually impaired, then your senses are enhanced. So that means you aren't able to say, look at Mr. Chocolate Bar over there that I like, or whatever. The feelings and the embracement of your man and the way he approached you as a lady who he knew I was going to have some type of care for this sister, a little bit different kind of care for this sister. Since how did the relationship evolve?
So, well, that's one thing. So the relationship evolved. We met young. Okay. So I was still very young. I was 15, so significantly.
You didn't know no better.
We didn't know him, 15 and 17. Yeah. So it really wasn't.
Which is God's plan too.
We didn't have the capacity. We didn't have the capacity to know that we were going to have a life where we were codependent on each other. Because my peers, still to this day, they're adjusting, but they never identified with me as being a blind person.
Yeah.
So
nor should they.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a joke now, and I laugh at it now, and it's now my catchphrase. And what I'm using to really propel me in my journey is that I just don't look blind. If I take these glasses off, I make great eye contact. I guess I've done a great job of fooling the world, and I've got macked on, and I've not had such successful.
I love that. You say you've been macked on.
Yeah, and
you probably gonna keep getting macked on.
Always.
I'm a brother with one eye, but I know beauty when I see it, and you are a little cutie sitting up here. And let me tell the people just listening, when you started talking about doing all of these things that weren't allowed or weren't supposed to be for women, See, I had the pleasure of growing up with your mama and your aunties.
Yeah.
And all the brothers and sisters out there, them Trotter girls over at
Right.
Arlington, y'all might
Shout out
remember.
Trotter girls.
They were the look. I'm gonna be nice on this platform, but they had some big old legs, and they were all cheerleaders, from Terry to Carol to Mary and all them damn
My mom
Trotter
was
women.
the first black cheerleader.
That's what I'm talking
Like,
about. So if you know them, you know that she comes from good, rich genes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we're gonna leave that
Yeah.
right there.
They,
But-
Trotter girls have a reputation.
Yeah,
of
they
being
do.
Beautiful.
But this is the first segment of many to come with Rebecca Triggs, and we're going to continue to make sure that we help influence people who might think that they're down on their luck, or they're or have a disability, quote unquote, or they have reached the edge to where they can't move any further. But as we go in, so the entrepreneurial spirit is rich and embedded in you.
Me. Yep.
And you decided at what age to become an entrepreneur?
Oh, at the age of 24.
Okay. And the first venture you went into was what?
First venture I went into was landscaping, lawn care, and doing it residential and commercial. That was with my first husband. That was our first venture. Then I moved on, and at age 40, so my first entrepreneur, my first business was my kids. And I want to say that first, because raising kids is almost like it's a full-time business.
Anybody in it just to say I like cute little babies,
Yeah.
get out of the game. I'm serious, you know.
Yeah.
And for those of you, and let me say this, for those of you who have not had children, you are a blessing in disguise, because the people who have had children need the system. I mean,
Absolutely.
they need us. I mean, really, because you can't. The village is real.
It is real.
Sometimes what you say to your child ain't gonna penetrate nothing. And you can have a cohort, a friend, a sister, Miss Williams over here, that can say the same thing to your child, and boy, they listening and they acting like they just learned something.
Yep.
So let's remember that, you know, just for
yeah.
the people who have and have not had children.
Absolutely.
It takes all of us together.
It does.
So that was your first job.
That was my first job. So then I started A New Vision LLC, which is my baby. It was something I wanted to do to bring my family back, you know, that nostalgia. I actually stumbled upon it because my dad has glaucoma like you, and he was struggling. I reached out to him, and this is 2018. He just said he was depressed. He couldn't do anything anymore. His vision had got to a point where he can't see his computer, can't do this, can't do that. And I said, well, Dad, go to your system preferences. And I showed him how to zoom his screen. And it brought him to tears. And he thanked me so much. He said, you just don't know what you did for me. And then he stopped and said,
Jesus,
you do know. And then he started crying. And he said, I can't believe you've been walking around like this for 32 years.
The humility.
And I didn't know. And so it's like, but Dad, no need for tears. I'm here. And it didn't stop me. And now I'm able to share with you and help you get where you are, because I can identify where you are. I know where you are. And so that led me to start A New Vision, because I knew I needed a new vision. And I knew if I needed it, the world needed it. And I knew that there were so many people, maybe not my age, but there were so many people in an aging community with diabetes and having other health problems like fibromyalgia and another autoimmune disease, and learning about all the diseases that can take your sight, and the people that struggle with what I go through and don't have RP. They may be diabetic, but the people that were suffering in silence with what I go through in their own way. So that pushed me to start A New Vision and to create a new vision of what the world sees as an entrepreneur in the way we do things.
You don't know it, but you are just incredible on timing, you know, because I have to talk and keep time as well. And we're coming up on 30 minutes. And I like to do these segments in 30 minutes. And this is part one of you being introduced to Rebecca Triggs. And she is sharing with you real life story, real information about how you can overcome maybe your disability. Right now, she's dealing with blindness and sight impairment. And there are several ways that in the second segment that we're going to give you information, awareness, and resources on how you can not only enhance your life, your lifestyle, and some of the pains that might ail you, because we're going to talk about your brand new company that you're dealing with now. Tell them about that before we close this segment out.
All right. So I officially am a brand ambassador and partner of LifeWave, which is a magnificent company. I mean, I can't put into words how great this company is, but it checks all the boxes of transformation. Regenerating yourself, regenerating stem cells, phototherapy. When I researched my diseases, these were the top things that I needed to fix and to treat the things that ailed my body, but I didn't have a source or a resource to fix them all at once until I happened to go through church, and the usher that always greeted me, something the Holy Spirit in me said, I need to talk to you. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, beautiful. Yes, you do. And I got introduced to LifeWave. And I mean, it's changed my life. It's changed the trajectory, and it's given me a different platform because there are other people facing things like me. And it may not be a business crisis. It's a health and wellness crisis, and health as well. And now I'm working with a company that's all about the innovative approaches on holistically fixing the things that ail our bodies without going to traditional medicine, and doing things that encourage health and wellness on our own, having the power to change your life in your own hands.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. And as we get ready to go into part 2, we're going to have Yvette Williams come on around here. Come on around here, Yvette, and introduce yourself, because we're going into LifeWave. No, yeah, come on around here. And I can edit this. I want you to know that we're going right into part 2. Absolutely. Come on here in the middle, because we can't see you around there. Just come on and stand in the middle. Or maybe no. We good. We're going to move this hat. And as I edit this, people will never know that this happened. But if you sit right in here, or come in here,
you want me to sit in there in the middle?
Let's we're gonna rearrange, because I can edit all this. Let's rearrange this. So pull your chair over there. No, that ain't got nothing to do with
We gotta make room.
That has nothing to do with nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying the
camera's right there.
Is what I'm using.
Oh, and it's on the corner.
So I was just saying moving. There we go. That's cool. Okay. We still rolling the tape. And we're here at part 2. And I do have Yvette Williams in. And this is the nurse that Rebecca Triggs was talking about in our first segment on overcoming, is I guess what we could call this. And if you were not just included in the first segment or didn't get to hear the first segment, Rebecca Triggs is visually impaired, found out after a concussion when she was 7-8 years old, moving on forward, Lawrence North. Got into high school and about 15 years old, realized that this is going to be a lifelong situation, but it did not stop her from creating a new pathway in her life. And now she is a member of LifeWave, a brand new product, holistic product that she was mentioning in the last segment. Yeah. And the lady who introduced her is Yvette Williams, who is the nurse and an usher. Give it up, Yvette. Yeah. Tell them a little bit about you, sister.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say that I am Yvette Williams. I've been a registered nurse for 34 years. Long haul COVID displaced me from that traditional aspect of nursing. And with that, it showed me a new trajectory of really core in the realm of health and wellness, getting to the root cause and getting to the effects to change your life at a very natural, at a very holistic level. Because, I mean, pills don't heal. I mean, that's just the reality of it. We are in a sick care system and not a healthcare system. And so this technology just changes the trajectory of that for us. And it has brought me a long way back on my journey for health and wellness, because I had no desire to get into business, but I did have a desire to find some holistic approaches to wellness because the pills were not helping me. And so that's me and Miss Rebecca.
Now, wait a minute. Now you met at church, and you must have been clued in to the fact that Rebecca had some issues with her vision. So being an usher, good usher that you are, when did you take note and say, okay, every time she comes into church, I'm going to take some special attention and pay some special attention to help the sister out?
Well, this is the thing. Rebecca is really not new to me. I've known her mom for decades with another entrepreneurial endeavor.
Yeah.
And so I have known Miss Rebecca, and actually one of my mentors spoke to me about Miss Rebecca, and he let me know that he had gave her some sample patches to try, and I knew that she was having, and I will say this, I knew that she was having a visual impairment, but what I will say, she might not have vision, but she is one of the greatest visionaries.
Mm-hmm.
Just because she has lost her sight, she is one of the greatest visionaries I've ever met in my life.
Thank you so much.
And so I knew, the issues that she was having, didn't know the intricate details of what was going on with her sight. But what I did know is stem cell rejuvenation and reactivation helps every organ in our body, because all our organs, all our systems, all the tissue in our body starts with a healthy stem cell. So if anything can help her get her vision back to some degree, it is some type of stem cell therapy. But traditionally, we can't afford to travel to,
Canada,
Mexico,
wherever yeah, someplace other than here that is really under the control of big pharma. Let's call it like it is.
Right.
And I'm glad you came in, Yvette, because being a nurse, you have seen both sides of this, and you understand that there are some holistic remedies out here. I had the misfortune of being witness to my mother being diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. The first thing that came out their mouth before any other types of treatments was Tarceva.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, Mom, there has to be some other ways that we can look at maybe trying to help you. And trained as we are, she was following the doctor's orders, doing the best she could, man. And I was watching Tarceva just tear her down. I was watching her hair come. I was watching everything
front row
that Tarceva was supposed to not do, and she didn't have a clue. And so being a nurse, holistic medication or holistic treatments versus pharmaceutical medications, where do we lie in this, and how much should we do further investigation after being diagnosed with something versus just starting to take the pills? Because I'm not trying to get people who are in real serious life crisis things, but many times there are some holistic or I don't like to say medication remedies that are much better for us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the thing. Now, we're not on here bashing medications because there is a need.
I'm trying to give information, awareness, and solutions.
I'm just saying, I have to put that disclaimer.
I got you, as a nurse.
Because there is certain medications that people are dependent on. But this is the thing I learned with my health and wellness journey just last week, trying to change my diet. I've been on a 5-day challenge. It's called Below the Red Line.
Healthy gut.
It's talking about all the healthy food options with the antioxidative properties, with the anti-inflammatory properties naturally that can not only reverse disease, but it can be proactively to help prevent
and repair.
Wow.
That is the first line of treatment.
What you consume,
changing our diet.
And you know what? And you and I've been talking, and I told you when I first went in, and this is real stuff. 4 months ago, I went in because the hip pain that I was having. I have osteoarthritis. They diagnosed that. When I went in, I said, "Well, let me go get the steroid shot to see if I can relieve this pain." And when I went in, this doctor didn't know me, had never spoken to me. And he looked at my X-ray. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to put a couple of these before it's over. Almost like laughing, saying that he can ready to get him 2 hip replacement payments. And I'm thinking, really, mister, you don't know what I do for a living. And I'm a research dude. So the first thing I did was talking about inflammation in your hips is what causes arthritis in your diet. So it started telling me and guiding me to green leafy stuff. And I promise you, 4 months later, I ain't getting no surgery. I'm going to control my diet and start doing water aerobics and some other things, because then I find out over 75% of the people who get hip replacements don't need it.
And inflammation is the number one precursor to disease in
everything.
Inflammatory processes is the number one. And so this is also something I learned on my research and my journey with this eating below the red line. Doctors are not taught
to tell you this.
They're not taught to treat with nutrition. They are not taught how certain herbs, remedies, eating right can reverse or treat disease.
Absolutely.
They are not taught that.
We have another layer of this because I have a daughter. My daughter has been to medical school. She is a physician assistant. I won't name any place that she works.
Keep her anonymous.
But what I'm saying is what Miss Williams is saying is so true, and it lines up with where we connected, because my diagnosis was my autoimmune disease. Because I was on so many medications, I'm a small woman. The doctor, she felt terrible giving me a pill for my thyroid, and she said, "I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to recommend this book for you, and it's for you changing your life through your gut by Dr. Wentz."
Yeah.
And doctors in other countries
because 80% of our immune system is in our gut.
And
so you get your gut health right.
Yes, but your blood type depends on what you should eat.
Yeah.
So this book, if you figure out your blood type, a lot of us don't even know our blood type. Let's start there. Figure out your blood type.
Don't get Jumbo started on what we don't know.
Then you go to this book, and then you know the things that are good for your body, because no one body is the same.
No.
If that can take red meat, I may not be able to. You may be able to eat leafy vegetables. It may inflame more things for me.
And it should be self-explanatory anytime we talk about people who are lactose intolerant. They're making billions of dollars making sure that people who can't handle the substances in dairy, that should let you know everything isn't for everybody.
Absolutely.
So we can patch it up and chop it up, but in the end of the day,
my daughter doesn't take medicine. So that's crazy. As a doctor,
end of the day,
she don't take medicine.
They gave me some. They told me to go get some iron pills. Right? Okay. What's the replacement for good iron? Is what I looked up, because
it's your spinach, pill. Spinach, leaves.
Come on, all of that.
How about
but instead
greens?
of them telling me,
kale.
I told this is there. I could be a pot of collard greens with eating on the mugs for about 7 days.
You can.
But the truth of the matter is, there are supplements, as you mentioned, natural ways to fight off some of the things that you're prescribed. And I'm not saying go against your doctor's prescriptions. I'm just saying check out other options. Research. As we go into X39, and you discovered this patch.
Yes.
And you and Miss Williams are out here now with LifeWave, trying to make a difference. When we start approaching the general public, what is the drawback most of the time? Because I'm going to just be honest. We as a community are so afraid of anything new that might benefit us, that we are our own worst enemies when it comes to maybe getting advancement and enhancements on what's new. It's like I started talking about Bitcoin in 2017. Bitcoin was $1,700, and even now with its recent drop, it's still 87,000.
And we're still hesitant.
And so if you had invested just for the people that don't know the math, if you would have invested $1,700 in 2017, in 2025, you could have had 8,500, and it's been as high as 106. So what I'm saying is, we are always slow and late to the party. How can we start making new advancements and new treatments more digestible for our community's mind? Because I am having a hard time trying to figure this one out, Rebecca.
Well, what I'm seeing, and this is me, and it may not be what other people see, but I know that God gave me a gift. And he gave me a gift to see things from his perspective, right? And what I see is with X39 and other businesses that I own, that this network marketing arena, right? Because we like getting things word of mouth. But most of the time, and while we've been used to getting things are through advertisements, through mass media, TV commercials and things like that. Well, the only problem with those things are when those commercials run for 30 seconds, you're seeing an instant result. But when you see me, Miss Williams, and other people, Mrs. Williams, and other people in LifeWave, you're seeing people that are living, breathing testimonies of the product. And that's the beauty of doing things. And we're going to see a shift in a lot of businesses moving into the network marketing model. But we are skeptics of hearing anything that we didn't get on our own, right?
Because when we mention stem cells, especially to people over 60, they scared to death.
Scared to death.
Number one, they don't know what you're talking about.
And then they think it's
number
expensive.
two, they think it's expensive.
Yeah.
And number three, they're going back to Star Trek and
how does it work?
Yeah, how does it work? I said, how does your cell phone work?
But the thing is, if
you
it's
use
not
it
gonna
every day
hurt
and you don't
you,
know how it works.
if it's not going to hurt you, then why not try it?
Absolutely.
And that's the mindset shift that needs to occur with us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're doing with X39. We're educating ourselves. We're taking the time to do the deep dive that the average person is not going to do. And we're willing to be the guinea pigs, if you will, that wear it. Because I got introduced to X39 a few times. But this last time, I had just broke my foot. Literally on February 5th. Mrs. Williams came over with the care package, being the phenomenal nurse she is, retired, whatever you want to call her. Mm-hmm. She is a nurse. It's in her. She came and put 2 patches on me while we were just talking, just casually, laughing with me. And the next day I went and got my cast on. And then the next week I had to follow up and meet with the surgeon because this break that I have in particular requires surgery or it won't heal. Well, I meet with the surgeon. The first thing they do is cut my cast off. And the first thing he notices when he walks in the room is, wow, you don't have very much swelling. What did you do? Well, I couldn't do much. I had a cast on, so I couldn't ice it. And I said, well, I haven't done anything, but I started this new patch, and it's a stem cell regeneration patch. And he said, really?
Probably got pissed off.
No, he actually sat back. I thought he was. I was kind of hesitant because I've been ridiculed by doctors before for trying holistic therapies. But he actually sat back and said, interesting. And he asked me the name of it. And I told him, and he said, well, I don't see any problem with it. And keep doing what you're doing. And 4 weeks in, March 5th, well, I got put in a boot that day, which was remarkable. Because I just put in the prayer that I wanted out of this cast.
I need mobile,
and I wanted out of the wheelchair. And I honestly, this is like my 13th break. So I'm pretty well versed in breaking something and how long it takes to heal the swelling. I've never seen results like this. Even with my vision, it's not something you're going to see instantaneous. But as I stated before, when you're losing sight, you can't really tell. But when things come along that aid you and help your sight, you can tell those things.
Sounds like Alzheimer's.
Yeah, a tiny little, but
you don't know until it's all the way there.
A tiny little tweak that will give you just, for you, Jumbo, if there was something that would give you just a spark in that left eye, you would try it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
I'm still waiting to get patched.
And that's the thing. We've got it like that patched on purpose. I'm moving with Patch Me Please. Do you know what I mean? Because if we don't know that this is out here, we don't know that it'll work. But as long as you can see as long as you can see me, I believe that more people see this, it gets out there because this isn't what is it? Regova. We don't have a catchy song that comes on all night 52 times while you're sleeping if you keep your TV on. But what we do have is a community that's going to be consistent, that's going to show you that we don't waver, and you're going to see that our lives are getting better and better and better. And so if that's not proof enough, what else do you need? You know what I mean?
And I will piggyback on that and just say, with these stem cell, these X39 patches, there is no medication or chemicals in these patches. And so all they are doing is allowing the specific wavelength of light to go through our bodies and elevate a specific copper peptide to which just simply means to elevate something that sends messages to our cells.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
The peptides are the messages for our cells.
Those are the messengers.
And so it elevates the messengers to send signals to our cells to wake up the stem cells. So that is what it does. And I also have to give you guys this disclaimer. These patches do not heal, treat, mitigate any disease or illness. It just gives your body the light pathway to heal and rejuvenate itself on purpose, the way God built us to do. God built us with everything we need to heal and regenerate completely natural. Even from the herbs and the minerals in the grass. He gave us everything.
Sunlight. If we're lacking in vitamin D, the number one source of our vitamin D is the sun.
And that is phototherapy.
And that's what these patches do. The owner, if you tune into the YouTube, that this is it info that Miss Yvette give too. Immerse yourself. If you're a skeptic and you don't know, find out. Immerse yourself. We're on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Get the latest updates on what's going on with this innovative technology.
All right, y'all seem like y'all got this going on now, because as I get ready to close this down, I'm gonna turn the camera over. And for the listening audience, we have been here for an hour. First of all, introducing you to Rebecca Triggs, a representative for LifeWave in the X39 patch, and we are here with Nurse Yvette Williams, and I'm ready to let them close this thing out, and I'm gonna give them 5 minutes to do the best damn uncanned pitch that you can get, so we can listen to it live on www.radio-next, and you can watch it on YouTube, Facebook, and all these other social media platforms. And I'm gonna turn it to them and let them end this thing up.
Well, just let me start by saying this: you are the best advocate for your health and wellness.
Yes.
No one knows your body, what works, what doesn't work for your body better than you. We go to subject matter experts. They spend 15 minutes with us and then write scripts. You know what works for you and what does not work for you. And I just want to say this: if you have any desire to have a better quality of life, no matter what's going on with your life, just go to thisisit.info.com, because the scientists and inventors already took the deep dive for you. It's patented technology. He spent 10 years before it went to market. FDA approved lab. And he spent $4.5 million of his own money after the Navy SEALs commissioned him to make something for the Navy SEALs without any stimulants or chemicals. So all the information is there: the patent, the technology, the case studies, the testimonies, everything you need to make an informed decision is at thisisit.info.com. Now it's up to you to do the work for your betterment.
And I'm going to close with just saying, what I would like to add to this is, if you liked anything that you heard or anything that we said intrigued you, I encourage you to be your own advocate, like Miss Yvette said, but to be your biggest teacher. Do you know what I mean? If you're not a student of life, then why are you here? Learn more about yourself, spend time with yourself, and then decide if this isn't it for you. Because it wouldn't be this is it if it wasn't it. This is an answer to a lot of solutions. And even if you're looking for financial opportunities, or if you've always seen yourself being an entrepreneur, but you just don't know a way of going about it, and you've got struggles, reach out to us, because this is it.
This is it. And they have the blueprint, and your health is your wealth, and you can get it all under one umbrella.
Yes. And if you like what you see with us, join our mission, because the world is our office.
The world is our office.
All right. And the world is my oyster, and Jumbo Love is just proud and happy to have these two beautiful queens in here today to share with you number one, life experiences and overcoming any time in any way that you think that you are disabled or you feel like you have been left aside. There are ways and opportunities for you out here in this life. Get with the right people. Understand that you are your pathway, and your low faith and getting with the right people can take you a long, long way. I do want to thank Rebecca Triggs and Yvette Williams for sharing Life Wave with us. And as always, you can get more information, awareness, and resources at www.radio-next.tv and Cool Groove Radio. And until the next time in the Community Spotlight, Jumbo love and peace out.
Good job.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
That was phenomenal.
That was phenomenal.
You did so good. Love you.